Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. When lawyers send letters, it generally gets most people's attention. When the top lawyer in the state tells you he's about to break off an evergreen container ship inside of you, only a window-licking mouth breather bravely presses on, but bless their little hearts, the folks who run Texas State Fair and the city of Dallas have decided to defy Attorney General Ken Paxton and persist with their illegal gun ban. As Paxton noted, Texas law specifically prohibits people with carry permits being banned from government-owned property while carrying. Now, I'm not a lawyer, because I don't even know what puppy meat tastes like, but the law is so clear on this, I can't imagine the control freaks even think they have a chance of winning, so I legit can't figure out what their play is here. Does it really just come down to the fact that they know there are zero consequences for them personally?
There's a bear shit in the woods.
But it would be impossible for us to deliver quality 2A propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting twice, and now, while supplies last, you can go binary for less because both the discontinued straight and curved fixed trigger models for the AR platform are deeply discounted to make room for Franklin Armory's brand new interchangeable trigger bow model, the AR Elite.
Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the fuse with their binary firing system, because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong.
And by Vortex. We've been running their new Defender line of red dots hard since before launch. They've found a home on all of our guns, whether for concealment, for competition, or anything in between. They are rugged, they are packed with features, and they flat out perform. With the CCW, the ST, and the XL, there's a dot for you, and let's not forget their no questions asked VIP warranty that covers just about anything. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. Here's a question: should Christians carry a gun? A recent opinion piece on the Catholic news site Angelus asks if it is moral to even own a gun by cherry-picking two cases where people used a firearm where they were understandably fearful, but probably not justified in shooting. He ignores every one of the 2 million defensive uses of a firearm every year where someone was saved by a gun, often without any shots fired at all. He also avoids even the barest theological discussion, but the casual reader is likely to remember Jesus telling us to turn the other cheek and think maybe that meant he was a pacifist. As my friend Bear said,
Jesus wasn't a pussy.
He patiently endured what he needed to, and he fought for what he had to. And just before the feds took him, Jesus told his disciples that if they didn't already have a sword, they should sell their cloak and buy one. Now, I'm not saying all this to proselytize to you, and I'm not trying to knock Catholics either, but I do disagree with the premise that owning guns is immoral or that violence is never just. And if you are Catholic, I'd like to hear how you feel about this last part in the article where the author mentions bishops regularly advocating for gun control. If your bishop is doing that, have you written him about it? Federal District Court Judge Ian Johnston just ruled that Illinois' ban on firearms in public transit is unconstitutional.
And there was much rejoicing.
But if you're thinking that means you get to carry on a bus anywhere else, you're a little optimistic. For that matter, if you think you can even carry on a bus in Chirac, you are sadly mistaken.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
Because this ruling doesn't actually mean anything at all for anyone but the plaintiffs in this case. That's one of those dirty tricks that judges use to avoid handing down a ruling they know they really ought to. After all, remember that judges are almost always lawyers. Because old Johnston here declined to issue an injunction preventing Illinois from enforcing the law that he just said was unconstitutional. Even after ridiculing the state's argument as breathtaking, jaw-dropping, and eye-popping, he still refused to issue an injunction against the law. But this case can still be cited as a non-binding precedent in other cases. And if you want to help keep moving that ball down the field to where we can lift carry bans on public transit in your city too, please donate to the groups that made this win possible: the FPC and the SAF. Come on, you were just gonna spend that money on skull-shaped bullets anyway, right? Washington, D.C. and the state of Maryland are suing 3 gun shops in the D.C. area because they sold guns to a man who sold guns to criminals. Altogether, they sold 34 guns to him over a 6-month period.
Let me do the math here.
So that's less than 2 guns per month per gun shop, but they claim these stores missed obvious signals he was buying too many guns. And I'm like, that's awesome. Why shouldn't a man be allowed to buy as many? Oh, is that what they meant? And of course, that's always the case, isn't it? Most gun control is racist when it comes down to it. It's about upper middle class Karens being terrified of armed brown people. And when it isn't explicitly racist, it is classist. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Anyway, it's more than a little ironic and hypocritical that they're suing these gun shops because just last April, news broke the DC Police Department sold at least 25 guns to criminals back in the dark days of the Coof Panic because all the gun shops were forced to close in total disregard for federal essential business guidelines, and the city was ordered by a court to transfer guns for residents. During that brief time, the police themselves transferred at least 25 guns, which were later recovered from crime scenes. Maybe we should try this thing where we stop letting violent sociopaths out of jail? And now for your moment of zen.
Just one small man shooting one big gun. Let's get it, baby. Oh, dude, got hit by a train.
Hey friends, do you like pews and pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure uncut American pew propaganda at the low, low price of free pity? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you. A window-licking mouth breather.